Hello, beautiful people. I am the Alien Cat, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're brand new here, welcome on in to my channel. Today, we are going to be continuing our review slash analysis of the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender. We are on episode 2, which is called The Warriors. And before we do get into it, I would just like to mention that Avatar: The Last Airbender is honestly my favorite animated show ever. I watched it when it came out. I've rewatched it many, many times after that. I have also seen The Legend of Korra twice. I have the Kyoshi novels as well that I got fairly recently. I have the other ones. I have the Yang Chen ones as well. So obviously, this is going to contain a lot of spoilers if you haven't watched the animated Avatar: The Last Airbender, including The Legend of Korra, because there are some things that have to do with it. And also the comics. If you haven't read the comics, you know, there are things, like small things that are in the show that they add from the comics. This is not my first time watching the live action. I have actually seen all of the episodes already, but I thought it would be fun to rewatch it with you guys, to give my analysis on it. And I know that this show has a lot of mixed opinions and stuff. I'm taking everything with a grain of salt. I do know that it is really hard to make a very good live action adaptation from an animated show. So obviously changes need to be implemented to make things make sense in a way. And we need to take also under consideration that the OG creators, they left the production fairly early on, if I recall, due to creative differences. And since we will be analyzing the show here together, be prepared for a lot of commentary, because I have a lot of things to say, but I am trying to keep things on a more positive note. I will give my honest critiques on things, but I will also give credit where credit is due, because I do like the cast. The action scenes are done well, in my personal opinion, and I would love to also know your thoughts. So tell me what you liked about the show, what you didn't like in the comments. So grab yourself a drink. I'm having English breakfast tea once again. And I also have 4 pieces of leftover sushi to have as a snack. And let's get this party started. Let's do this. Dramatic music. Very dramatic.
I'm sure it'll turn up. You probably just misplaced it. Your unceasing effort is what led you to the Avatar.
He ran! The ultimate warrior!
Okay, I know that I watched this already, and I've actually seen that part when he says that. But I forgot that that was the moment that he said, he ran! Dallas, you are great, man. Keep being awesome. That was great. I generally forgot that that was the part where he says, this tantrum also really fits the character. I mean, I know that in the animated show and stuff, Zuko, he uses more, like, you see his tantrums come with ire and stuff, which is fair. The anger fits. It fits. I think that was good.
But it's clear that this Avatar is not what you nor anyone else would have expected.
And I do like the conversation here between Iroh and Zuko.
I'm still the heir to the throne. That's gotta mean something.
It is precisely because we are in a more quiet part of the world that we have an advantage.
Kyoshi Island is only a few hours from here. According to this, Avatar Kyoshi was the fiercest of warriors.
You hear that? Kyoshi, the fiercest of warriors. She is a force to be reckoned with. That is very true.
Maybe something in her shrine will help me control my power before
You kill someone?
before it happens again.
It's gonna need Aang. And you're right. We do have a duty, and it's to protect the Avatar.
You want to protect him.
Ever since he came into our lives, things have changed for me. I couldn't bend enough water to fill a thimble. And now look what I can do. And that's after a single day.
Okay. I know what I said also in the previous episode when we did the review and stuff. Now, on the one hand, it is true that, yes, Aang did mention some, like, he did give her pointers and stuff in the OG show, but ultimately Katara is the one who teaches him the basics of water bending. We see in the OG show that she is able to do some bending on her own. It's not really good because she's on her own. She literally had to teach herself, which is impressive on its own. But I think what they were trying to portray here more so is that, yeah, she wasn't able to bend as much at the beginning, but once she got that slight change in perspective, that little extra nudge, you know, that really pushed her. I do believe that it is a different way to try to show us that she's actually really good. She went from like this to this really fast, you know, as she also said here, in just a day, which is fair. It is a fair type of change, I suppose, but it is a change that I personally don't particularly like. And we see the change throughout the show, but I do wish they would have given her just a tiny bit more at the very beginning.
Look around. I don't know about you, but I can't go back.
I do appreciate at least that in here, she is the one that kind of pushes Sasaka to kind of like stay and to be with her and with Aang. I guess here they are trying to just show us more that she does have the ambition to not only improve on herself, but also to help Aang, you know, fulfill her duty type of thing to protect Aang and everything, blah, 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 blah.
Katara, something's wrong with your bag.
Cute. Momo!
Hey, that's our food.
What's this?
My dear Katara,
The scroll,
this
of course.
scroll has been passed down among the waterbenders of our tribe for generations.
I have heard the controversy behind the scene where, you know, because in the OG show, you know, they meet up with pirates and she steals the water scroll, the water ending scroll and everything. And I get that people were pissed off that it's like, oh, so her grand just gave it to her. And it's like, well, if they chose to get rid of the pirates altogether, which is kind of what happened here, I don't see it as too much of an issue because, again, live action adaptation. The show is 8 episodes, and while each one is about an hour long, so you do kind of have time to fit everything, but it is really, really hard, I think, to try to condense all of the episodes into one. So them getting rid of the pirates, I don't particularly think it's a bad choice, ultimately. I mean, I know it leads to other things and everything, but I don't think it is as significant, I suppose. Again, this is all just my personal opinion. I don't think it's that bad, actually. Like, I don't particularly mind the change that they made, that Gran actually had a scroll with her that she was hiding. And in a way, it kind of makes sense almost, because, I mean, like, yes, this is a change, but it is a change that at least kind of makes sense in a way, because previously there were water benders, and we know a tiny bit about Gran's, you know, history, and there were water benders when she was a kid. There were water benders. Now, she herself may not have been one, but, you know, she had friends who were. So maybe, you know, when we learn about her history in season 3 of the OG show, it could have been that since her friend, which a lot of us believe is Hama, and I'm inclined to believe that one of her friends that was the taken, Hama, you know, she probably had scrolls, or maybe any of her other friends, maybe they had scrolls. And so maybe in order to keep close to her friends, maybe she took the scroll from her friend, or maybe it was a gift to her. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make, it's not a far-fetched thing for me to think that Gran had a scroll, because she probably thought to herself also, like, not like, just to kind of keep the culture alive also, you know, so if she keeps the scroll hidden, you know, as like a, you know, as a reminder of her friends as well. So I think it's an okay change. I do get why people are pissed off and stuff, because you see more of Katara's character at the pirates that she'll do anything to learn what she needs and everything. I get it, but at the end of the day, I don't think, you know, out of the changes that were made, I don't think that this is a particularly bad one, because at least in my head, it makes sense, it fits, it's like, it's fine.
You should take what belongs to you. You are a waterbender. That is who you have always been and always will be.
Ultimately, she improves also more thanks to the scroll. So I think the fact that she has it early on, I think
Something I have to do first.
it's also okay. Okay, look at the building. I'm pretty sure that's the same building that Aang almost blew apart in the other episode. And it still stands. Unless it's a different one. But I feel like it's the same building.
Goodbye, Gyatso.
Aw, that was actually sad. We didn't get to see this in the OG show. I kind of like that we get to see Aang say a proper goodbye. So that was nice. I like the I like the swishiness. I think the swishiness it's very pretty. Warriors. Freaking go. I like the swishiness.
You want to ask a Fire Nation commander if they've seen the Avatar? If word gets out, everyone in the world will be looking for him.
One thing you must learn is how to get what you want without divulging your true intentions.
True. True.
You need to have sticky rice.
Zuko's face.
Uncle, there's no time for this.
Nice. Nicely done there. Look at Kyoshi Island. Oh, wow.
Giant scary lady.
You hear that, girl? I mean, it's accurate, so.
Sokka, should you just go in there?
Yep. Oh.
What's happening?
Watch out!
Hey!
You are trespassing on sacred ground.
He's the Avatar!
There would have been signs if he was the Avatar.
Is that the sign you're looking for?
I think that might be a sign.
I forgot that she mentioned that. I remember that my initial reaction to that was like, huh? And it's still the same. I don't know how I feel about it, but also fair enough to speed things along, I guess.
We can't start making exceptions.
We're not just any visitors. He's the Avatar.
According to you. And a few reflections off a statue.
I know you're scared.
I mean, here's the
I
thing.
don't know what
The leader, I totally forgot his name in the OG show. I mean,
people help
he
each other.
he was a man, but when Aang showed his abilities, he was really convinced, like, oh yeah, yep, you are definitely the Avatar.
But if he is the Avatar, how can we turn our back on him?
Such a fierce warrior, and yet such a kind heart.
Mother.
It's kind of interesting that they made Suki the child of the leader of the town. I mean, is that canon? Is that a canon thing in the OG show?
You know why you wanted us off your island. I'd have done the same thing. It's a big responsibility, all these people's lives in your hands. I'm the guardian of my village too, so.
You.
Suki,
The
you.
Guardian. So, how are you protecting your people if you're here?
What? I'm not. I mean, I am. Sorry, how does it go again? I'm protecting Aang, so I'm protecting village, or is-
So I know that the main issue that a lot of people have is that they kind of took away Sokka's sexism and everything in the show, like not just with this interaction, but just in general and stuff, because it is important at the end of the day to also for the characters to have flaws so that they can work towards improving themselves, which is ultimately what all of the characters do in the show. And I do get that people were pissed off that they kind of took that away from Sokka. You know, he needs to be arrogant and a bit of a sexist, because part of that is what also angers, you know, Katara, is his points of view on things, on women and girls and stuff like that. And ultimately, it is a part of him and he grows out of it. Well, yeah, he grows out of it. You know, he becomes a better character at the end of the day. But they kind of took it away from him, so we don't necessarily see... I mean, now we see him more as just like an awkward dude, which in a way in the OG show, he has his awkward moments and stuff, but I feel like they're probably leaning more towards the awkwardness of him as opposed to anything else, as like a flawed... I don't know, I kind of have mixed feelings on that also, because I do believe that they shouldn't have taken that away from Sokka. You know, they do portray well that, at least for here, that, you know, his dad put him in charge of the village, you know, him and also, you know, Katara. But you know, he is in charge. He has a lot of weight on his shoulders and stuff. And they talk about it more in this show here, which I do think it's good because we don't hear it too often in the OG show. I mean, we do as the show goes along, but here they spend a bit more time on it, which I think is fine at the end of the day.
Don't get many VIP visitors around here, much less the famed Dragon of the West. If you wouldn't mind giving me until the morning, I'm sure we can track down what you need.
Very kind. Commander
Zhao. Commander Zhao.
It's kind of interesting that here they don't know him at all. In the OG show they did, but it's an interesting change. It opens a new window for the interaction between the characters. So I think that is interesting. I'm also having my little snack as we go along.
Someone needs to put a bell on you.
I find this interaction here just a little bit cringe. Not the good kind of cringe either, but like, okay, I know they're trying to force a connection between the two and stuff. You know, you see, you know, the look that they share in that hall and everything, but that I felt like that was a little bit creepy. She is just there in the corner, well, in the doorway, just looking at him, and it's like, girl. I think it's just more so because he's the one who came to Suzuki at first, not the other way around. So I don't know. When I watched that first, I was like, I felt the cringe, and not in a good way, because I know that in some shows, you know, there are some scenes that are cringe, but they're supposed to be cringe on purpose. I believe they were trying to do that here also, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it. What I will say that I actually didn't mention before is that I do feel like they captured Suzuki's, like, she's very proud to be a Kyoshi warrior, and she's an excellent one as well. Like, she's amazing. And I do think that they kind of, when they interacted outside of the Great Hall, I don't know what that place was called. But you know, when they were walking around outside, I do think they captured well the fact that she's proud. She takes her role very seriously too.
You're a natural. You're a real waterbender, Katara.
You know, you should be practicing too.
Yeah.
The Avatar needs to master all 4 elements.
Maybe later.
But avoiding practice doesn't mean you'll avoid the responsibility.
I like this conversation here also because he has a tendency to run away, and so he's avoiding things, and she's trying to bring him back to, you need to learn.
We'll do this together. We're not going anywhere.
This whole interaction was really sweet.
Or we could just let me use you for target practice.
I forgot about this part actually. Oh yeah, the feast.
But not bad.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Sokka's like, you show off.
Gotta admit, he has a way with people. That's his real power. Connection.
Air scooter.
Building bridges. That's how he's gonna be the Avatar.
Right. There goes the savior of the world.
This boy, he may be entertaining, but that doesn't mean he's not dangerous. And the sooner he and his friends are off our island, the better.
Fair point. That is fair.
The Avatar.
Yes, sir.
He thinks he's found the Avatar.
According to his crew.
If Zuko's looking to us for information, it means he thinks he's still in the area.
I would like to point out, though, I do think the actor who plays Zhao, I think that he fits him well. But when you first see Admiral Zhao, Zhao is an arrogant asshole. Like, he reeks of it, you know? It's very obvious. Here it's not so obvious, but I do kind of miss the arrogantness of Zhao. Oh. She's very creepy.
Seriously? Belle, think about it. Mercilessly deadly tiger whales. I could run you through the basics if you want. Wow, that was pretty good. Us Southern Water Tribe warriors are known more for our hand-to-hand fighting anyway. Oh, right. Now?
I still find it awkward. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but I find it awkward.
Did you know she was an orphan? Lived on the streets until she was hired as a house girl for the richest family on the island. She was quiet and kind.
Yes.
No one had a clue she'd become the Avatar.
She was a pacifist.
How'd she go from this to that? The kids used to say I was lucky because I never really had to train. But I did have to train. Not to develop my powers, but to keep them under control. I'm sorry!
I do like that dark twist that they added there.
All the previous avatars are incarnations of your past life. You are literally not alone. The other avatars are inside you. The answers aren't inside here.
There we go.
They're inside you.
Thank you. That is what... Okay. I feel like if they would have done that type of a scene first and then maybe have them talk afterwards, I feel like that would have been fair. They could have cut out the other parts where Tsuki was creeping on him and just had this and have Sasaka go into the thing. I honestly, yeah, I just thought of this now, actually. I feel like they probably could have cut out those two other scenes and left more room for this scene. This scene would have been fine if, like, that moment would have been fine if it wasn't as long, I think. Because it still feels forced. It still feels forced.
The world needs you.
Imagine what will happen if you
Scared of my power. Avatar Kyoshi, help me.
Go, Kyoshi! It's your time to shine, girl.
It's about time.
I'm sorry. I didn't know how to reach you.
It's a lot you don't know.
Kyoshi is very tall, so they try to make her look extremely tall. I do like her attitude. It's about time. You know, I have been waiting. I do find it interesting also that Aang spoke to Kyoshi first, because you don't really see the interaction between the two until literally the last book.
I think you're getting the hang of it.
It just feels forced. I want her makeup remover stuff.
You're not even a bender and you're the fiercest fighter I've ever met.
Not being a bender means we have to be even better than benders. The bell.
Saved by the bell.
You hear it too?
We have to go.
Why? What's happening?
It's the town alarm. Someone's coming.
You need to be a guardian, a general, a mediator, a guide.
I love how Kyoshi's just so freaking tall. Because she is a giant.
The Avatar state is a combination of all your past lives focusing their energy through you. The Avatar state gives you the strength of 1,000 benders.
I've seen it.
But it can also be the ultimate weapon. And it can save your life.
There's no way around Jasmine. He'll have made it to the village.
Kyoshi.
In Pai Show, the first move is not always the best. Knowledge of your opponent, knowing where he might go, is more important than speed. And so, where there is one avatar, there may be another.
Iroh and his wisdom.
Such a lovely island.
And we welcome you to it, Commander.
I do find it interesting that Zhao is here, but okay.
I understand you had an unexpected visitor just the other day.
You must be mistaken. We like keeping to ourselves.
I kind of don't like that she doesn't have the makeup. Like, I don't like that she took it off. I forgot about that. Show me more, Katara, come on. Give me more.
We are shaped by the different demands of our times.
Do I have to figure this out myself?
That is part of the journey.
She's not wrong.
What if I hurt someone along the way?
And how many have already been hurt because you haven't been here? Run away from your responsibilities again, and even more will be hurt.
I find this interesting, actually. I find this interaction interesting.
But then I saw what was at stake, and I will show you what will happen if you fail. Tragedy awaits the North, and unless you do something about it, another race of benders will be wiped out just as the air nomads were.
I wish that I was at a point where I have finished the books to be able to say, yeah, that fits. I do, like, from what I know of her, that does fit her character. Spoilers for the book. When it comes to the Avatar, we know that the Avatar's job is to bring balance to the world and to be the bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world. They have to master all four of the elements. For Kyoshi, her drive was not to, like, she wanted to learn all of the elements. She wanted to master them, but she wanted to use them as a weapon for revenge. So this is why I'm like, yeah, from what I know of her, it does fit. And she is right that every avatar has their own thing that they need to deal with and their own thing that they need to learn for themselves, while they have access to all of the information and all of the knowledge and everything that the other avatars they went through. You know, Roku, Yoshi, Kurik, Yangchen, like, everyone had their own paths, everyone had their own challenges, and they can learn from each other and how to improve and everything. So knowing Kyoshi, that does fit. Again, from what I know, I wish I knew more about her and her journey to be able to be more like, yeah, that is 100% her. That is completely accurate to her character. I don't know enough about her to be able to say that, but for what I know, it fits. It pretty much fits. And when she said also that I used to be like you once, that is also very true. She was a pacifist. She didn't want, like, she avoided conflict anytime she could. I want those fans. I really would want those fans. I think that they're awesome. I wish Suki had her makeup on. You know, Kyoshi warriors. She is a badass, though. She is a badass.
What if I do what you say and it all just becomes worse?
It will. Your very presence in this world will make things worse. Both sides will fight harder because the Avatar has returned.
So what's the point?
You want things to be easy. None of this will be easy. Avoid your duties any longer, and not only will you fail to save the world, you won't even be able to save this island.
From what?
From the danger you've put them in right now. You wanted to know about the power of the Avatar. I will show you what that power can do.
Yes. I approve of this. Kick their butts, girl. Woo! Let's go, queen! Oh, I love Kyoshi. I love Kyoshi so much. You go, girl! That was a fun scene.
There's nothing here that we've lost that can't be replaced. And you've given us something far more valuable in return.
I appreciate that their hair is all messy, because usually in a lot of shows, you know, you have the fight scenes and everything, and it's like a lot of the times, you know, the hair and the makeup of the characters, like it's fine. At least here, they actually look like they were in a fight. They, like, their hair is all messed up and everything. And like, I do appreciate that. I would like also to point out that I know that people have, like, I have heard people talk about the fact that they didn't like how that fight scene turned out in the end, because in the OG show, he's the one who was forced to leave at the end of the day because he put them in danger, like something. I don't recall the exact details of the specific argument, but the point is that they feel as though because they had to bring in Kyoshi, that she kind of bailed him out and that he didn't really learn anything because blah 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 blah. And it's like, on the one hand, I get where they're coming from, but also Kyoshi gave him quite the reality check in their talk. Like, she was hard on him, you know, like saying that people will get hurt, and this is a dangerous path that he is on, you know, at just being the Avatar, not only from being the Avatar, but the fact that he came back. And she's right saying that that both sides will fight harder because of him, because he is back. You know, she gave him a big slap in the face, kind of a reality check that he needed. So I don't think that, at least when it comes to that argument, that he didn't really learn anything. He was bailed out thanks to Kiyoshi. Again, I get where they're coming from, but I don't think that he didn't not learn anything. I hope I said that correctly. Because, you know, it's not the first time that we see an avatar be showed up in that way. You know, with Roku, you see him take over Aang, and you do also see Kiyoshi take over Aang in season 2. So, I don't know. My thoughts on that scene is that I do like that they went on the tough route. I don't know. Like, I do feel like, again, from what I know about Kiyoshi, is that it does fit her character. Her drive, initially at least, is revenge. So ultimately, I personally think that given the changes that were made to the show and the changes that probably needed to be made, I think it was a good scene. It was tough. It was darker as well.
I fully understand the sensitive nature of this information. Working together, we'd be able to devote twice as many resources to the hunt.
An excellent suggestion, Commander. We would be honored to have your partnership.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
I know this information may arrive as a shock, and you might be tempted to dismiss it.
Did Zhao tell Ozai?
The Avatar has returned.
Ozai. I do believe that they did actually cast the perfect actor to play Ozai. Like, he just fits well. And I know that people have been going like nuts over it and stuff, but he fits the role well, I think, at least. But that was the second episode of the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender. Here are my final thoughts. It's fairly much the same, I suppose, as the first episode. I get the changes that were made throughout the episode. I get it. Some of the things I didn't like, again. More so, I think what bothered me the most about this episode was the interaction between Sokka and Suzuki. More so just the fact that she was creeping on him. I mean, I get it that he's an outsider, so she's probably curious about everything, but just the way that it was handled, I thought was a bit off. I do believe it would have been more natural, like we talked about earlier. And I am fairly much okay also with the change that they made, that, you know, they talked that, you know, Kiyoshi was reached out by Egg first as opposed to Roku, because they had to make changes for things to make sense. So I don't particularly think, well, not now at least, I don't particularly think that anything is kind of off with the timeline. Like, again, they changed things around, but I feel like they make sense. Ultimately, I did enjoy the episode. I love seeing Kiyoshi again. She's my favorite avatar, basically. So, obviously, any chance I get to see her on screen, I am going to love it. I am glad that she did give Aang a bit of a reality check. Obviously, in the OG show, he learns that along the way, but they don't have a lot of time to show that growth. So I think to have Kiyoshi kind of like bring the hammer down on him, I think it is a good choice on that aspect, as opposed to, like, if they had to sacrifice a bit of Aang learning more about the hardships about being the Avatar, that he can't keep escaping his duties as the Avatar. We see that throughout the show and the OG show as well, that he slowly accepts his role as the Avatar. He doesn't run away as much as the show goes on. With here, Kiyoshi just gives him the slap in the face that I think that he needed. So I think the way that things panned out, given the things that they needed to change, I think it was done all right. I think it was done well, even. It does feel like it's all, you know, compact into one, which can make things just a little bit harder, but that's all right. I do also like that they did give more to Katara, like at least here for this episode, even though there wasn't a lot happening with her, but she helped Aang more, and she started to practice, and she also, you know, she got the ball rolling also, that, you know, you need to learn the elements eventually and stuff, you know, like they gave her that, which I appreciated. I do wish that they would have kept a bit of Sokka's sexism and arrogance, but oh well. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you all so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. I hope you found this episode enjoyable. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments as well. I would love to hear what you guys think of the show. If you would like to see extra content, feel free to follow me on any of my social media platforms. I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I have an Etsy shop where I sell a variety of streaming assets, things like badges, emotes, and overlays. I also have a Ko-fi shop where I sell free streaming assets, things like badges, emotes, overlays, panels. I also offer extra content for members, things like behind the scenes stuff and extra cosplay, gaming stuff, and extra streaming assets as well. And I'd like to thank all of my members for all of their support. I appreciate it so much. So once again, thank you all so much for being here. Until next time.